Hello, I'm Juline, and although I've had many answers to prayer in my life, this stands out in my mind as it's quite a recent one. It happened in 2021, at a time when it was very difficult to cross the border into Queensland, let alone enter a hospital. We had obtained special permits for Dennis and myself to drive across the border in order for him to go to the Greenslopes Hospital in Brisbane for his cancer treatment. We were to drive directly there without leaving the vehicle, and then after the consult and treatment to drive back to the border and across it without stopping or leaving the vehicle for any reason. When we arrived at the hospital, Dennis had to ring the cancer department and someone would come out and escort him to his appointment with his specialist and then to his treatment, while I would drive to a nearby park and wait up to 6 hours for his phone call to pick him up. This day all went well until I received a phone call from the specialist telling me that Dennis needed to have his gallbladder removed and she was admitting him immediately. What a shock! I must admit I felt so alone in that city, with my stress levels increasing by the minute. But I did gather my thoughts enough to ask if there was any way I could get permission to go in to say goodbye to him before I drove back home. She rang back to tell me she had made special arrangements for me to enter the hospital for 1 hour only. At this point, I rang Carlin and Matthew, our children, and they left together to come and collect me and drive me home. They didn't think I would be in a fit state to drive myself home that night. After asking the Lord for help and protection for us all, I drove to the hospital and was surprised how understanding the security man was in letting me in. But then where would I find Dennis was the next question. I prayed silently as I entered for help in locating him. I couldn't enter any section of the hospital without special permission. As I stepped through the door, I heard someone call my name. I couldn't believe my ears and looked around and saw my dear friend Rachel standing there with a lovely smile. Rachel was Dennis's first treatment coordinator and one of our favourites, although we have found all the staff in that hospital to be so kind and thoughtful. What a relief! I told her my problem and within minutes she had located him for me. He was sitting at a reception desk waiting to be admitted. Rachel then made all the arrangements for his admittance and also arranged for me to accompany him to the surgical ward. I thanked the Lord all the way to the ward and all the way home. When I look back over that experience, I can't help but think of that wonderful text found in Isaiah 65:24. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. There is a postscript to this story. When the surgeon looked through all the test results, etc., the next morning, he decided he didn't need his gallbladder out after all, so he gladly returned to Brisbane and brought him home.